Okay, so my camera got cut off because my iPad was full of storage and I did a whole bunch of work without recording it. So I'm going to take you through the work a little bit as I left. So where we left off, we were seeing if numbers were divisible by 6. We already crossed out the numbers that were not divisible by 2. Then we checked to see if the numbers left were divisible by 3. So we found that 2 plus 8 is equal to 10, and 10 isn't divisible by 3. So 28 is not divisible by 3, so it's not divisible by 6. Then we checked 222 by doing 2 plus 2 plus 2 is equal to 6. That is divisible by 3, so this number is divisible by 3. 18 is divisible by 3 because 1 plus 8 is 9, and 9 is divisible by 3. So that one is divisible by 6 because it's divisible by 3 and 2. 96, 9 plus 6 is 15. So 96 is divisible by 2 and 3, so it is good. All right, number 5. See, I even did all number 5. We were using a Venn diagram to sort the following numbers according to divisibility by 8 and 10. So I made one circle for divisible by 8 and one circle divisible by 10. 600, any number that ends in 0 is divisible by 10. So 600, 280, and 190 are divisible by 10. So I highlighted them with little red arrows. Those are divisible by 10, so they'll have to go in this circle. To see if a number is divisible by 8, the way I did it was I tried to cut it in half 3 times. Because if you can cut it in half 3 times, it's divisible by 8. So 600. So I did 600 divided by 2 is 300. 300 divided by 2 is 150. 150 divided by 2 is 75. 600 can be divided by 8. It can be cut in half once, twice, 3 times. So 600 can be both 10 and 8, so it went in the middle. 416, I tried 416 over here. I divided by 2 to get 208, divided by 2 to get 104, divided by 2 to get 57. I could divide it by 2 3 times. But 416 is not divisible by 10, so it goes over here, only divisible by 8. Then I did 264. Cut it in half once, cut it in half twice, cut it in half 3 times. And 264 is divisible by 8. But it's not divisible by 10, so it only stays here. 164, I did 164 over here. Cut it in half once to get to 82, cut it in half twice to get to 41. You can't cut that in half again. So 164 goes out here because it's neither of these. 280, I did up here. Divided by 2, divided by 2, divided by 2. It can be cut in half 3 times, so it's divisible by 8, so it goes here. 190, I did way up here. Cut it in half to get 95. I can't cut it in half again, so it's only divisible by 10, so it goes here. Then number 6. A number is divisible by 10. What other numbers is it divisible by? Well, if a number is divisible by 10, it ends in a 0, which means you can divide it by 5, because any number that ends in a 5 or a 0 can be divided by 5. If it ends in a 0, you can divide it by 2, because any number that ends in 0 is even. Notice that 5 times 2 is 10. Any number that can be divided by 10 can also be divided by 5 or 2. All right, now this is the new stuff. What is the smallest number you can add to each of the following numbers so that the sum is divisible by 9? So 546 is not divisible by 9. We need to add something to it to make it divisible by 9. Well, let's take a look at what the sum of 5 plus 4 plus 6 is. 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 6 is 15. For a number to be divisible by 9, the sum of the digits have to be divisible by 9. 15 is not divisible by 9. But what can we add to 15 to make it divisible by 9? We could add 3 to make this 18. So to add 3, if we add 3 to this, then we will get this to be equal to 549, and then 5 plus 4 plus 9 is equal to 18, and 18 is divisible by 9, so this works. Now let's check 2,935. So 2 plus 9 plus 3 plus 5 is equal to 11, and 8 is 19. 19 is not divisible by 9. We need to get it so that it adds up to, let's say, this one's a little bit tougher, because we need to either get this to increase to 27 or get it to decrease to 18. So to get it to 27, if we add, so we have to add 8 more to the digits, plus 8 more to the digits. So we can add 4 more to this digit and 4 more to this digit. And that would give me 2,979. But that's not the right way to do this either. We have to figure out what the next multiple of 9 would be. So it's pretty complicated, actually. 2,934 is a multiple of 9, so we add 9 to that to get 2,943. That is the next multiple of 9. Right, because in 2,934, 2 plus 9 is 11. 11 plus 7 is 18. 18 is divisible by 9. 2 plus 9 is 11. 3 plus 4 is 7. That's 18. So we need to get it to this number. So we have to add to this 8 more to get it to 2,943. Okay. Now it works. Would each number also be divisible by 3? Yes, every number that's divisible by 9 is also divisible by 3. Now complete the following factor tree. We start with 48. 48 is 8 times 6. 8 is 4 times 2. 4 is 2 times 2 times 2. 6 is 2 times 3. 2, 3. That's how you do the factor tree. Explain why every number at the bottom row is called prime. These here are all prime numbers, because they can only be divided by 1 and themselves. If the bottom row of a factor tree consists of 3, 2, 2, and 5, determine the starting number at the top. Well, 48 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. So if we have 3 times 2 times 2 times 5 at the bottom, what will we get at the top? What is 3 times 2 times 2 times 5? 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 times 5 is equal to 60. You could do that this way. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 5 is 10. 6 times 10 is 60. Explain why the number at the top is called a composite number. A composite number can be divided by numbers other than 1 and itself. Right up here, 48 is composite because we could divide 48 by 6. 48 divided by 8 is 6. So It can be divided by many different numbers. All right, last page. A grocery store sells potatoes in bags that weigh 4 kilograms. Explain whether you can buy exactly 36 kilograms. Well, we just divide it. Can 4 go into 36? Yes, exactly 9 times. So yes, exactly 9 bags. What about 126? Can 4 go into 126? Well, all I have to look is I look at the last two numbers. Can the last two numbers be divided by 4? Can I do 26 divided by 4? I cannot. I get rounding. Not rounding, I get remainders. So 4 does not go into 126. We can check here. 3, 12, 0, bring down to 6. 1, 4, 2, remainder 2. No. You cannot buy exactly 126 kilograms. All right, so last question. Linda is a band teacher. In preparation for a music festival, she plans on dividing her students who play woodwinds with those who play brass instruments evenly. There are 16 woodwinds and 40 brass instruments. What is the greatest number of groups that she can make for the competition? Okay, so she's trying to divide everyone up evenly. So a certain number of woodwinds and a certain number of brass instruments. So what we want to do is we want to check, how can we divide up 16? We can make groups of 1. We could make groups of 2. We can make groups of 4. We can make groups of 8, or we can make groups of 16. Right, with 16. With 40, we can make groups of 1. We can make groups of 2. We can make groups of 4. We can make groups of 5. We can make groups of 8, 10, 20, and 40. Okay, so what happens if we had 2 woodwinds and 2 brass instruments? Well, could we have 2 woodwinds and 2 brass? Is that possible? Well, the answer to that is no. Because if we times this by 8, we would get all 16 woodwind players, but then we would have 8 groups. We'd only use up 16 of the brass players. So this one does not work. Because if we can make 8 groups of 2 woodwind and 8 groups of 2 brass. So, but that would only use up all 16 woodwinds. Would only use up 16 brass players. So we need more brass players. Let's try 2 woodwinds. Let's try 4 brass players. Now if we multiply this guy by 8, then we get 16 woodwinds, and that's all of them. And then we multiply this guy by 8 because it's 8 groups. We get 32 brass. That's still not enough brass. So we can't do 2 woodwinds and 4 brass players because we don't use up all the brass players. Let's try 2 woodwinds and 5 brass. Now if we use 2 woodwinds, we will have 8 groups, and we'll use up all 16 woodwinds. And if we have 8 groups, then we will all use up all 40 brass. There we go. That works. So you can make 8 groups with 2 woodwind players and 5 brass All right, so that is this assignment. It's a pretty big one. Hopefully you understand some of it. And you'll be ready for the next unit.